Greetings, I am Herbert Erpaderp, and it's time, once again, for Ask a Herbert Erpaderp, the most Herbert Erpaderp Askinist series on this side of the internet. You don't want to know what's on the other side. Before we get too far, I'd like to say a very big thank you and welcome to our newest patron, Kogar. I hope I'm saying that right. It really sounds like a name you have to capitalize. I appreciate your support. If you'd like to become a patron like Kogar and help keep this channel running, there's a link below. Also, if you're a patron, you can submit questions in your own voice, if that's a thing you would like to do. Anyway, thanks once again, Kogar. Let's get to the questions. Commence asking, question bot.
Yes, I am question bot beep boop. Trekan Belovich said, I heard that some fuselages of F-111 fighter bombers were buried near Brisbane. Is that right? Did someone try to unbury them and was sent to Gulag?
This is true. Well, mostly true, in that there's about 20 F-111 hulls buried in a landfill about 40 minutes west of Brisbane. I don't think anybody's tried to unbury them though. They didn't bury complete planes, just the hulls with no wings and presumably everything of value removed. Though it would be kind of funny if somebody did dig them up. Imagine the look of disappointment on their face after all that digging. I do remember seeing a bunch of people getting really mad about the planes being buried because they wanted them to be preserved, though the Air Force did keep a bunch of F-111s for preservation. I don't know the details about that or where the planes are, but that's what I read. I understand the reason they were buried is because they were full of asbestos, and it being cheaper and safer than even trying to recover the materials for scrap. Also something to do with deals with the US for proper disposal or something like that.
Herchin said, do you ever feel astonished by the contacts you have made around the world, or are you young enough to take the ease of communication in your stride?
Sometimes I do. I remember, very vaguely, pre-internet times. Well, not really pre-internet times. The internet has been around longer than most people realise, but I was around before the internet was the ubiquitous thing that it is now. So because it's not something that's always been around in my lifetime, it is still kind of amazing that I can very easily just talk to somebody on the other side of the planet. I remember when it would take literally hours to send a blurry image or a sound file. Now we can watch people stream video in nice clear high definition in almost real time, the speed of light being the limiting factor. I mean, the other day I watched a Dragon Force show live on Twitch completely free. I didn't have to wait for them to come to Australia, and I didn't even have to sit and wait for a video to download. And in the year 2023 you wouldn't be surprised about any of that, but it is still kind of amazing and really cool when you think about it.
Martin Gotham said, do you have or will get the Warlord Hollywood Tiger tank?
I don't currently have the Hollywood Tiger from Warlord, though I have thought about getting it. Obviously, so far, I haven't. I would, of course, be more likely to buy it if it was in plastic, but I don't see that happening.
Dominican Boy said, favorite pastry?
I don't really eat a lot of pastries. Not the kind I feel like this question is asking about anyway, which I assume is mostly referring to sweet pastries. I'm diabetic, so I almost never eat anything like that. I do like pies though. That's pastry. Savoury pies, not sweet ones. By savoury pies, I mostly mean the generic meat pie with tomato sauce, which is a staple of fine Aussie cuisine. It's not really fine cuisine, I'm being sarcastic, but they're tasty. Meat pies are usually filled with something resembling beef and gravy. I also frequently buy some chicken and vegetable pies that are really nice. So I guess I'll choose that.
Trekan Beluvis said, did you sell the eggs in November without me and how guilty do you feel because of that?
The farm stops for nobody, and I don't feel guilty at all. You know full well that eggs are only sold and bought in November. How about some YouTube questions?
Mark Ferguson said, well, if you have to adjust your schedule, then you have to. I'm not going to cry about it. I would like to mention that I kind of miss the visits to war memorials even if nobody else cared for them. If nothing else, they got you out of the house, right? Yeah. I know summer is just getting going for you and nobody wants to go outside. Oh well, I also liked you and Barnaby at the tank playground. Anything like that planned for the future?
I figure most people are probably at least a little bit reasonable and either wouldn't notice or be bothered by a schedule adjustment. And to be fair, so far there hasn't really been fewer videos. If anything, there's probably been more than usual. And those that do get upset about it can either pay me for my time or cry about it into the void. I also miss doing the war memorial videos, and you're right, they did get me out of the house. Not that I really want to do that in summer, the house is where my air conditioner is. Problem is that I got most of the ones that were in short driving distance, so the further I have to go, the more time and fuel it takes. It just gets kind of hard to justify the cost unless I can also contrive a reason to go where the memorials are, and that turns out to be a bit harder than I thought it would be. I do think that maybe next winter I would like to get out and do a few more of those videos, though I can't and won't promise anything, and they obviously wouldn't be a every second week thing like they were in the past. I also really enjoyed the tank playground. The place was called Tank Ride. Makes sense. That was a really good place. My sister and I were actually planning another trip there for a relative. Unfortunately, they no longer operate. I don't quite know the full story, but I understand a neighbour complained to the council and they were shut down because the road wasn't appropriate for a business or something dumb like that. Yet again, something interesting and cool is lost because some people just can't abide others enjoying stuff. I believe Tim was trying to find another location, but I haven't heard anything about it for a while, so I assume they haven't been successful. I would love to go and ride a Centurion again though. That was really cool.
Road Warrior John said, just a suggestion, but if you ever feel like doing the showing off your model collection type video, it would probably be easier to do it in separate videos by scale. That way you wouldn't need as much room to display everything and you won't have to dig everything out all at once.
You are right, it would probably be a lot easier to do collection videos by scale. Not that I really want to do them, it would still be a lot of work for basically no reward. Also, I don't have my models sorted by scale, so I'd still have to pull everything out anyway. It just doesn't seem like a good use of time to me.
Jackob 17 said, can't do a 10 minuet video once a week, just sounds like laziness to me.
My initial response is something like, shut the fuck up. But I guess some people are a bit simple and don't understand that 10 minutes of finished video doesn't actually take 10 minutes to make. Not unless it is actually lazily made. You know, like straight out of the camera with no editing. Of course, those videos do have their place. It's just not the kind of videos I want to make. I'm well aware that I'm not making Hollywood blockbusters or important documentaries here, but I do put significant effort and time into all the parts of the videos, like filming, writing, speaking, editing. All of those things have to be done by me, because I don't have a studio or a team or anything like that. As an example, the zombie painting video took about 45 hours. The Vespid Centurion one was about 40, and the Bronco Ram one from a while ago took about 48. Even the Star Wars AT-M6 video from a couple of weeks ago took about 7 hours, for roughly 7 minutes runtime. But no, I'm the lazy one for not wanting to spend hours and hours every single week doing nothing but making YouTube videos that will probably never get enough views to generate anything even approaching minimum wage for the time spent. Which, for reference, for about 40 hours work should be over $900 dues. The money isn't the driving force for me, otherwise I would have given up a long time ago. I do obviously get some money, that is largely what pays for the kits I build, but it's certainly not enough to let making videos become something that makes me miserable, or something that takes up all of my time. You might not value your time, and you almost certainly don't value my time, but I value my time, so I'll make whatever changes to how I do YouTube that I see fit. Okay, so that's all the questions this month. Thank you, Question Bot.
Get ready for the AI dystopia, Puny Human.
Definitely looking forward to that. Let's check out some of the models that have been shared over on Discord. Trekan Beluvic shared this BYOB Sturmgeschütz 4. BYOB standing for Bring Your Own Bush, and this Sturmgeschütz has brought plenty of bush. I choose to believe that the commander is on the radio laughing with his friends about how nobody can see them in the bushes. The model is in 15mm scale, and I assume from Battlefront. Also, it's been very nicely done. Stolas said, I just spent a solid 10 hours detailing and painting the interior of this M113, only for it to all be covered up. It is a bit of a shame to have it all covered up, but I guess whether or not that's a bad thing depends on how much just knowing that it's in there works for you. And it does look really good, and we all got to see it, so it's not wasted effort, and at least there are hatches you could look in through, assuming you don't model them all closed. Very nice work. I'm sure the exterior is going to be just as nice. Rosso shared this Matilda Mark II. This is a 72nd scale kit from S Model, and it's been painted really nicely, and that is pretty obvious. With nothing else in the shot to give it scale, it's so convincing that it's kind of hard to believe it's a 72nd scale kit, and I really like the way the dirt is packed into the treads of the tracks. That's awesome. Very nicely done. And that's it for this month. As always, I would like to thank those who ask questions and share their modelling work, and an extra big thank you to my patrons and the folks who support on Ko-fi and through Twitch subs, especially our newest patron Kogar. Thanks again. I hope you enjoy being a patron. Ask a Herbert Erpaderp will be back either the first or second week of next month, depending on how much other stuff needs to get finished. Ask your questions in the appropriate question-asking locations. Subscribe if you want, support on Patreon or Ko-fi if you're able, and check out the links in the description below. Take care of yourselves, be excellent to each other, and thanks for watching. Farewell.